Are we ready?
We are live. Forgive me for the technical difficulties.
Yes. So we're going to start over. So my name is Janelle Jones, and I am from Janelle Jones Empowers. I kind of want to give you a brief background about myself. So I am actually a life coach. I work with women who are ready to transform their lives. I really believe that in order to live your dreams, you have to deal with that foundational stuff. Like you need to have your mindset fixed in order for you to move forward. I'm also an author. So here's my book. It's called Beauty and Mahogany. And I'll explain to you more about Beauty and Mahogany in connection with what we're going to share with you today. This book is very, very precious to me. So if you haven't picked up your copy, make sure you go on Amazon. And then I'm a speaker. So I love talking to women and engaging women and encouraging women and empowering women to
Positive, productive power. I'm the founder of a very incredible elite, the Woman Elite Revolution, and it's a platform where we develop women economically, financially, professionally, and spiritually. And the Woman Elite platform is women basically coming together, and we're elevating lives through trade and exchange, and putting 100 women in place before the end of the year. So if you're interested, inbox me.
Awesome. Yes, we're gonna have to talk about that. Yes. So we had so much feedback from last week's episode, and we were very authentic and brutally honest about our story. So I kind of want to give you a background about how this Rozlyn to do the same. So we will kind of share some more of our story, and then at the end of the story, we will allow questions and engagement. So if you have any questions or anything like that, make sure you write them down so that we can actually talk about them. And then another thing I want you to do is share this. If you are live, share it to any of your friends, share it to your site, tag 100 people to share this, because our bottom line is healing. So we want to make sure we're sharing our story and that people are healing from it.
Yes,
right?
yes. It's not in vain. This is not about talking about yesterday or a past.
Right.
We wanted to bring you into the story because it's relevant to so many women. And not too many women are comfortable talking about, hey, sharing the same man on a positive note. So we want to make sure that the focus is not so much the story, but the healing and the wisdom and what we've learned and how we grew and what we're offering you today.
Yes. So we're not the Atlanta Housewives, not that I have anything against them. As Miss Rozlyn would explain, we were able to overcome. And as you can see, we're genuine friends. So that's a whole story right there, right?
Right.
So we're going to recap about last week. I'm going to let you recap.
Okay, so, for those of you who tuned in, you all know we share the same guy. I was played. He ended up marrying her. Yet me and that guy were extreme friends. It was a love triangle, an innocent love triangle. And it caused a lot of friction between the two of us until we had a chance to come together and support each other through our healing. And where we left off where he got killed, right? The guy was with me and he got killed. And so I wanted to come back to that point because when he got killed, that's when my true healing began. Being able to be reacquainted with him during the time where I was separated, I was going through a divorce of a 13-year marriage. I was pregnant with a baby that I did not want at the time because I did not want to bring another baby into the situation. And I was broken and I wasn't quite sure what I needed. So God allowed us to come back together, and then he was admittedly just taken back. When we came back together, it was so wonderful. I went went into this like, you know, I finally got what I needed. And I can roll and kick it with my homie, and he's going to be here with me through this process. And then his life was taken. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I had so many emotions. I was thinking like, dang, if he didn't come and help me, would he be alive today? You know, I grew really angry. That's where the beef came. Mm-hmm. Like throughout the whole situation, I was able to manage my emotions. I was able to put me aside. But it was the moment that I reconnected with him, that he was taken away, where I began to really hate what took place. I began to become very angry at you. This was 3 years ago, y'all. Like 3 years ago is when I began to really think about our entire situation. And it's kind of like I went all the way back to the very beginning of me and him, to the very beginning of me and my ex-husband. And I was angry with you. You know, that's when I became angry. I was angry because, you know, when you lose someone, you want to try to place blame. When you're broken, you place blame until you're willing to grow. But initially when you are broken, you don't got no fault in what is going on in your life. I was so angry with Janelle. I was angry with the fact that they got married. I was angry with the fact that I got married. I was angry at my ex-husband. I was angry with everything we was going through. I was angry because I was pregnant. And I just realized God brought somebody back to me and he took him. Now I'm angry at God. And that's where the whole healing process began. But I tell you what, I went a little crazy, a little chicky before my healing came.
Wow.
So yes, just want to say that.
That's pretty deep though, right? Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm hitting my
That's
mic.
okay.
So that's kind of pretty deep that, you know, I didn't even realize that you were angry at me. I remember being at the funeral, and I was actually up front with the family. And the only reason why I was up front with the family was because my son was up there. So I was like supporting him. But when I saw your face, it was a refresher to me.
Yeah.
So
Did she go be refreshed again?
Like, oh my gosh. It was just like, because I knew that you shared that pain. Like,
Right.
Even though I went through so much with him, that was one thing I didn't want to see, that he got killed that way. Right. So it was very painful. Then I had kids by this guy, and many people don't know, but my father was murdered when I was younger.
Look
and
at that
so,
generational
curse.
Your father's murdered, then she married a man and he gets murdered. Wow.
Right. And so for me, now my pain was different from my kids' pain because I was much younger when my dad was murdered, so I didn't have that relationship. My youngest son, when he died, was 12. So I consoled them as much as I could, and that hurt to see them going through that pain. And then this is someone I knew all my life, right? Right. So this was just the end of it, and death is one of those things that's final.
Wow, when you talk about the funeral, I was pregnant, number one. Y'all already know. I was like pissed off that I was going through this divorce, the way things were with my ex-husband and I at the time. Mm-hmm. I was just angry. After everything that I held in, when his life was taken, y'all, we were talking about 3 years ago. I need you to understand this. My life collapsed. Like everything good was not good anymore. Mm-hmm. And I went into an emotional seizure, you know, like it was like, I lost it. But when I saw you at that funeral, y'all, if I ever wanted to smack you, it was then. You know, I was so angry. But it was so interesting because I remember seeing you. I remember us catching eyes. Mm-hmm. And I remember walking up, you know, there in that moment. And I was in shock. So I turned around and I began to walk. And there she was, you know, sitting in the front row like a happy family member. And I thought to myself, like, what the hell is she doing there? I had all these emotions. I looked at her. I was feeling everything in my mind. But the God in me always supersedes. Like, I don't know. I don't like it. I like it now. I didn't like it then. I never understood why I was always prone to die down for the sake of somebody else. Now I better understand that. But I saw her, and instead of having one of those drama scenes at the...
You jumping in the casket, girl?
No, not jumping in the casket, jumping on you. The heck she talk about? We know, you know. But with all that said and done, I just bridged over and I hugged her. Because when you are at a point where I was, it's like you have to fight with love because any other way is death. You know, so that's a nugget. Take that nugget and understand that when you are in the cycle of brokenness, you really don't know love. All you know is pain, hurt. So a lot of our responses are out of our pain and our hurt. Mm-hmm. But my philosophy was fight with love because any other way is death. So.
And then imagine, I didn't even know that you were thinking that. Like,
no, she's awesome. Like, she's always refreshed to see
it is so good to see you. Like, oh my gosh, you understand. So it was just like, that she up here trying to fight me.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to fight because I was pregnant. But I was just like, what the heck is she doing? I was mad at her.
Yeah.
I blamed her, you know, like, because I went all the way back to, like, if he was never forced to get married, but this was in my pain and in my brokenness, mm-hmm. and me finally having a chance to be weak, because the whole time I was never weak. I had to be strong. I had to deal with it. I had to walk away. I had to resist seeing my friend. I had to put him out my mind, you know, and that's when the blame started. So I blamed Janelle, mm-hmm. and she was the reason why I got married. I mean, you know, like...
I was the reason for everything.
Yeah, she was the reason for everything, because you're the one, you know. So,
and me not even knowing that, but that's the thing about grief is you go through those stages of grief. And one thing you learn, one thing I've learned about grief is you have to go through that process.
Yes.
And you have to allow other people to go through that process as well.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say, when we talk about grief, you know, when you talk about grief, I want you to understand, in brokenness is like grief, like it's death. Mm-hmm. So when you're broken, there's like a underlying grieving that's constantly taking place. A very amazing woman by the name of Tina Hines. She is part of the Black CEO platform. But I had a conversation with her recently, actually. It was this year, and she mentioned something to me about allowing myself and honoring the space of grieving, because I just lost a sister, and I had to honor that space. I never honored that space when he passed away. And last week, y'all, when we did this video, I just want to be 100% when we're talking about healing, mm-hmm. and getting well. When I did this video, I went home and I felt a certain type of way. And I realized that, oh my God, I never grieved. I've never really allowed myself to what took place, because I had so many other issues going on that I had to put it aside. You know, putting it aside is what we naturally do as women. I mean, we're women. We got to get up and go even if we don't want to, you know? So when I went home last week, I had an attitude. Like, you know, all these emotions kept rising up, and I didn't know what I was feeling. Like the next day, I literally... So I'm so grateful, mm-hmm. that even now, you know, when we speak about healing, only God knows the depths of our heart. I believe that healing is this transitional, it's a process that never ends, you know? And I was blessed to know that I never grieved it. I wanted to take down the video. I wanted to be like, why was I so vulnerable? But then it was in that moment that the true flesh, the rest of the flesh came out. So just thought I'd let you know that.
And one of the things that we're learning is that other people are getting healed because of our brokenness and us being vulnerable about the things that we went through, which is far greater than anything, I feel like just the fact that someone can reach out and say, you know, I understand, that helped me, helps me. Right. You know, like, mm-hmm. all that was not in vain. All that pain or everything that we went through was not in vain. right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so what I want to do, so I don't think I told you the title of this series. You probably saw it, but it's this chick. No, it's the side chick to woman, from side chick to main chick to woman, right?
Yes.
So I want to take you back on my end, and I want to kind of tell you. I know last week Rozlyn had mentioned that the guy, said that I waited, right?
Right.
So I waited 5 years for him, and then I finally moved on. But I kind of want to tell you that was his perception of it, right? And sometimes, but his perception may not be reality,
right?
But
she was like,
that was his perception. So I kind of want to talk a little bit more about my perception of it and what I was doing. So I was when I was going through the separation with my ex-husband, or he was my husband at the time. One of the things that I had to do, I ran to church because I needed something more. I was hurting so bad. I needed something. I ran to church and I found an awesome church to go to. So I'm in church and we had separated for a while. And I remember trying to contemplate whether I should divorce him or not. I didn't know. I never been through that, and all this stuff was coming through my mind. If I divorce him, what happens? What about the kids? What about our family? Am I able to do this on my own? I'm gonna be a single mother. All this stuff is running through my mind. So for a year, I sat on that decision whether to divorce him or not. I could not make up my mind. And I remember hearing God say to me, "What do you want to do?" And then I'm like, "Oh," and then I'm looking like, "Oh, now it's on me." Like I didn't want to make that decision. But I had to, so I'm like, okay. And at that time, I found out that he had got someone pregnant, and it was not Rozlyn.
No. So y'all would know. Let me make this for the record. No, I did not sleep with that man while they were married.
Right.
I was not with that man while they were married. And that was my beef. Like, I lost a friend, but it was my stance. Mm-hmm. He still wanted to be friends. He still, of course he did. Like, when I think about us, I just see the difference. But just for the record, no.
So it was not her. Yeah. It was someone else, and he has this lady pregnant. And I remember I had to really save face. So what I mean by that is I was hurting. In every aspect of my life, I couldn't show that hurt because I had kids, and I didn't want them to feel a certain type of way. And I was working, and I remember one time he's telling me that, he's cheating, he's divulging all this information to me. And I'm at work like, what the heck? And I'm on the phone, and then the professor walks in, and I'm like, hey, Dr. Such and Such. While on the other end of this, my husband at that time was telling me that he has another woman pregnant. So even though he had another woman pregnant, I was still willing to be with him. I was still willing to make the whole thing work. And I remember talking to someone, and they're like, I said, well, if I find out the baby is not his, then I'm just going to divorce him. And then they're like, but he still cheated. So then I started really thinking, can I be with him knowing that he has a baby by someone else? Do I really feel like dealing with baby mama drama? And do I really want to go through this whole process? And it was a tough decision for me to make. So I finally went to my pastor and was talking to him about this decision. And, he didn't say divorce him or not. And I understand why. As a counselor, you don't want to tell someone to do that. You want to kind of have them make their decision because you don't want them to come back and say, well, you told me to get divorced. So I just felt like, okay, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So I prayed about it, and I felt like God was saying it was okay to go ahead and file divorce. He, on the other hand, didn't want the divorce, but he wanted to play at the same time. Like, he wanted his cake and eat it too. So he was waiting on my decision on whether or not I would get divorced. And I finally told him. So the whole time we're separated 2 years from the time we actually separated to the time we divorced. I was so into honoring God that I didn't want to do anything. I had guys that were interested in me, but I was just like, I am not going to do that. I'm going to stick. I don't care what, he can have 100 babies. I'm still going to honor my marriage. So I vowed to do that. So the whole time that we separated, I vowed that I would not date, and I didn't. So after the divorce paper ink was wet still, this guy who had been interested in me, we started dating. And he was interesting, let's just say the least. And one of the things that I guess perturbed me was if you saw him on the outside, you thought that he had it all together. He was into the church. I mean, he was at church where everything was going on. He had it, like the car, the house, the money, everything. But as time progressed, I found out that he was messing with several women in the church. That's a whole nother topic. And
women in the church.
In the church, right? That's just a whole nother topic. So I decided, and I remained celibate. I said I wasn't going to have sex until I got remarried. So glad I didn't give you none. Let's just say that, because it would have been even, because it ended up being a crazy situation. Like, it was not, I can't say it was worse than what I went through, but I felt that my ex-husband was justified because he wasn't serving God versus someone who was serving God and they were tripping, right?
Right.
He was tripping. So I let it go. I said, you know what? I cannot deal with this. You know, you got too much going on. So then I started dating someone else, and this guy was more of a friend. So we were just cool. Nothing happened. Still celibate. Still was on my, I'm not having sex till I was married. So I was celibate for 2 years, right? And I was very proud of myself.
Being celibate is not healing, y'all.
Being celibate is not. And to be honest with you, I started to get frustrated with God. Like, where's my husband?
Right.
I ain't had sex. I'm being all good. I'm tired. I'm doing all this stuff. Why you ain't bringing my husband? And I started really like almost feeling a certain way towards God. Right. And God is looking at me like, girl, sit your butt down. I mean, I see that now, but I didn't see that then. Like, you are not healed. You are not whole. And he was absolutely right, because I started to trip. I lost my freaking mind. Right. I lost my mind.
And I want to say this, because she and I were like, it's kind of like we got saved at the same time, but we were around the pressure of get married. We were so young, but at that time, it was all about being married. So being married was the deal. Yeah. You know, it was the big deal. Be married. You're new in Christ. Now you want the house. So
that's what I wanted, right? Yep. And I'm like, where is he at? And so because I felt like God was taking his good old time, which again, I understand now. I started to lose my mind. So then my 2 years of celibacy went out the window with someone I had known previously. And then, I'm telling you, what ended up happening was, doom, 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 doom.
Drum roll, let it out.
I became the side chick.
Right?
So,
you became a side chick.
I became the side chick, right? Something that I vowed that I would never do.
Absolutely.
Never, ever do. And let me explain. I'm not condoning any of that. And it's something that's in my life that I was very embarrassed about, because I could not believe I was in that situation. I could not believe I allowed myself to be in that situation. So there was this guy, and I saw this guy very frequently. And at first, I'm naive, and I'm thinking that me and this guy is cool. Like, hey, you know. And then all of a sudden, he is like pursuing me. And I mean, he was chasing me like a cat on a mouse. I mean, he was on me. And that's no excuse for me to be like, yeah, I should have did that. But what I learned was, because I was so broken and because I was so hurt, I felt so rejected. So when I was married to my husband and he chose someone else, I felt rejected. I felt like, what was wrong with me? Like, why don't I have the problem? I felt so insignificant. And what happened was, then the other guy come, and although I did not have sex with this guy, he was essentially doing the same thing. He was choosing other women too. And I was just like, I'm not about to go through that again. So then I found myself being like, this guy is, when I say persistent, this guy had King Kong balls. I cannot believe how persistent he was. Like, I was just like, and he's married.
Listen, y'all. Now, let me stop right there. Because every good thing ain't the right thing. When you're a woman, listen, men gonna come after you. That don't mean, oh, he's pursuing me. Oh, that don't mean squat. You better know this man by the spirit. And to tell you the truth, most women, we got that intuition. Yep. We know. We know if he's in a relationship. Right. We know if he's with somebody else. So I don't play that, oh, I didn't know. It's true, when you first meet them, you may not know. But if you're a woman and you really paying attention to details, you know if that man is in a relationship. You know if he has somebody else on the side. It's just that achiness and that brokenness speak louder than the truth. You know, so I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. It was speaking very loud.
Absolutely.
Very, very loud, because I was in that situation where he essentially was providing me with something that I thought I wasn't getting. Right. Because these other men rejected me, because these other men did not want me. So I am like, it's just was like coming after me. So I found myself being the side chick. And let me tell you what I learned about that. One, I was so upset with myself because I became the very thing I hated.
Hear that?
The very thing I hated. And then it also taught me, too, that you cannot judge people. So I am doing essentially the same thing to this woman that was done to me that hurt me to my core. And what I learned was, even though that's something that I said I did not stand for, I couldn't judge anybody for that.
Right.
And because I did, and this goes to like if you hate your father and then you become who you hate, you really got to be careful with that thing you hate, because you can become that very thing. So I was so upset with myself because I became that side chick, that chick who broke up somebody's home. And it hurt me more than anything because after it was all said and done, I felt so empty. So yeah, he was chasing me and he was fulfilling this temporary void, but I felt so empty at the end of the day.
I want to speak on that. And I just want to say, see, I've never now, when I went home last week and watched this video, I think I had some beef with Jesus. I was like, Lord, listen, when she talking about hating side chicks, because of what I went through in my marriage, like I have a disgust. I have an issue, well, I had an issue with women who just slept with married men willingly. You know, what's up with that? Is it really that serious? Are you really that desperate? Are you really that low? You can't justify. Ain't nothing queenly about being a side chick. Ain't nothing fly about being a side chick. And the sad thing is, these women really remain the side chick thinking that you're going to win. But what you don't really understand, this dude is watching your every move. If you effing him, having sex with him.
Effing him. Yes.
Effing. Not F-U-C-K-I-N him.
Yes.
Effing. But basically that's what it is.
Yeah.
It may feel like love. I'm telling you, that is not love. And if the man loved you and if he really cared about you, he wouldn't even bring you in his mess. Understand that. So anyway, ladies, I've seen it over and over and over. You don't win.
Mm-mm.
Even if you think you're winning, you're not.
And then you're really selling yourself short. For me, because I felt that I sold myself short. I settled for being second best. And I remember going to church, and I promise, you know how you be in church, you be like, oh, pastor talking to me. I know he was talking to me. And I remember him saying, why are you settling to be second? And I'm like, what the heck? And for me, again, it was one of them things where I was in a situation. Now, I never did it again, so I wasn't like what is it? I wasn't a repetitive, but it was wrong. But it made me look at my life and be like, you cannot judge people for anything because you don't know what that other person. And if you look at the underlying issue, it's an issue of self-worth, self-esteem, self-love. Some of the things that are selfishness.
Know what I mean? You just plain old selfish.
And then especially if you're habitual with it.
Yeah.
But those are the things where I know that God has graced me with the gift of being empathetic. Sometimes I used to feel like it was a curse, but I realize now that it is a part of who I am, where I look at both sides. And I'm not condoning any of that, but what I'm saying is you need to check what's really going on inside of you to figure out, why do you keep settling for the piss poor relationship or for the married man who can't offer you anything? Because if he's lying to his wife, he gonna lie to you. I mean, who are you?
Hello.
Yes.
If he's telling, I know a few women. That's what they do. Mm-hmm. And on the outside looking in, I'm looking like, he's divorced. He ain't,
he's separated. Yeah.
He's going through a divorce.
He's separated.
He's separated. Like, ladies, listen. I'm at this place where, look, I had to be real. I had to be so real. Getting up here and telling y'all I'm married, and I wasn't in love like I thought I was in love. We got to be real with ourselves, And the thing is, whatever you choose, you got to know what you're choosing. You choose to be in a situation with a man that that's in another situation with a false hope that, you know, he's going to be mine, it's going to be, and then when things don't work out, now you want to run to counseling. You know, like, know what you're choosing.
Yeah.
When you sleep with a married man, it's a 98% chance that he just using you. That is not going to work. Maybe 2 babies later, he done left. Look at his track record. Check him out. Like, we got to open our eyes, because what's happening is the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the reason why I broke the cycle in my life, and the reason why I have not dated another soul since I've been divorced 2 years, been separated 4, haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I'd be damned if I put myself through that again. Are men pursuing me? Yes.
Yeah, I know. Remember?
Are they knocking on my door? Yes. I've said no a lot of times. They call me bitter.
She bitter because she's saying no.
Because I'm saying no, but I'm not bitter. I'm much wise, and I understand the detrimental pain that comes with going from relationship to relationship. Let me ask you this real quick for the side chicks, for the women right now that's trying to break free, or that's in love with another man, a husband, or, you know, if you're the side chick, do you really believe that this man loved you?
Question mark.
Do you really believe that?
And my question would be, do you love yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like a lot of that side chick, all that issue, it comes again from a place that goes deeper than here. So this is one of the reasons why I wrote Beauty and Mahogany, was I wanted to deal with that little girl who was hurt, that little girl who wasn't affirmed, that little girl who didn't know who she was loved. I wanted to deal with that little girl, because that little girl ended up being this grown woman who had all these issues of not loving herself and self-doubt. So a lot of times you need to assess yourself, and that's why I'm glad that she's talking about how she's taking this time to heal, because jumping from one relationship to another, you're not going to have time to assess yourself.
And let me tell y'all this. Now, I ain't just talking about an intimate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, we play games. You can call it a business relationship if you want, but you know what you're doing, you know? So right after he passed away, you know, I was still on the entrepreneurial path. I was, like, broken. And I remember there was this guy. I was in this mode, like, thinking, like, what am I going to do? How I'm going to do this? I need help. And I remember reaching out, and I met this guy, and he reached back out to me, and we formed and merged a business relationship. But this guy had no idea of the depths and what I was going through over here. So at first, when I met him, it was more so business. Like, didn't nobody have my attention. Like, I was like, I got to get my money. I jumped into survival mode.
Yeah.
I wasn't living. I was surviving. Like, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do. And he showed up, me being broken, me not healing. There was no space of healing whatsoever. And I began to work with him. Still, because I was not healed, the information and the relationship grew toxic because of the way I registered what he was giving me. Because I registered what he gave me through pain.
Right.
So God, even if God sent you the right person at the very beginning of your brokenness, it's not going to work, you know, because whoever that person is, you're going to filter it through your pain,
Right.
and you're going to respond to the new through old brokenness.
Yeah.
So
That's powerful. And then brokenness tend to recognize brokenness.
Yes.
So a lot of times when we're broken, we attract brokenness.
I don't care if he's Slick Rick, Jay-Z. I don't care if he's dressed in some Timbs and a hoodie, or then he got an Armani suit. If you have not allowed yourself time to heal, ladies, think about your pattern. I'm sure you can see this. You're attracting the same ish, the same junk, the same information, the same soil just in different cloth.
Yep.
Like literally, because you attract what's in you. So if you are attracting ratchet, poor men, you gotta, ladies, I'm sorry, something about you is
we need to get that fixed. And then
Yes.
you can't say it's all men. Like all men are not dogs. All men are like not that. But when you start working on you, I know for me through this healing process, when I began to work on Janelle, and I began to look at those issues that Janelle went through. Again, those I just did not love myself. And just the other day, someone was like, "I can't believe you was dealing with this dude and this dude. Like seriously?" And it was like because I didn't love me. I didn't know me. I didn't know whose I was. I didn't know who I was. And that I had to go through that process of brokenness. So now I'm in a position is where, like, I'm not worried about what's going on in Rozlyn's lane because I got my own lane to worry about.
You hear that? So most side chicks, they all up in the business of the wife. They all up when y'all be stalking Facebook pages. I've been through it. Listen, I had a few of them, you know. But see, I'm the type of woman. And so let me clarify. I said something last week, and I want to make this clear.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying having grace. No. Let me make this clear. To the side chick, if you are bold enough, and this is not in a judgmental way, this is to help you. I got to love all people. We all hurt. We all been there. We all have our preference. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, you bold. You know, you a bold chick. Women, pure whole women that operate the way God has them, don't sleep with married men. When you're full and full of purpose and full of love, like, that's chick mentality. That ain't woman. So someone got offended. Like,
Yeah.
I ain't no chick, and somebody else, like, they get offended. But the truth is, listen, chicken behavior, like, puck, puck, pluck, pluck.
Yeah.
It's not cool. But what I was going to say was, if you are bold enough to sleep with this married man, you gotta, when we choose stuff, we gotta know what we choosing.
I mean, there's consequences.
There's consequences, and you gotta be real. So there's a possibility that the wife is going to confront you. It's a possibility that it's going to get found out. My whole thing is, when that wife confront you, like, it's so wrong not to let her have that moment. You're
Right.
like, you are so wrong. I mean, if you're going to be in it, you got to plan. You got to understand this going to happen. So prep yourself for it. Don't be all shocked and be playing dumb because the wife been found out. Now she in your face. Now you want to be, hey, like, you sleeping with her husband. Like, let her cuss you out for a moment. If you bold enough to sleep with her, be bold enough to let her,
Receive it.
you know, receive it. But in all that, I just say, it's so, like, it's sad.
She just went off, and now it's like
so
it is
sad,
sad.
like,
And for me, I'm looking at it as an eternal thing, where it's a bigger picture. It's not cute, you know, to be sleeping with someone else's husband, but you're looking at the bigger picture of I can see someone hurting.
Yeah.
You know?
And I understand it though.
Yeah, and not only that, to be honest with you, if he's cheating on you, he's probably messing with other women.
Yes, ladies.
So let's be real about that.
Honey.
Like, I found out he was messing with a whole bunch of other women. Right?
Absolutely.
So it's just one of them things where you're probably, and then you can't feel like you're the only one if you're the second one.
Yeah, you're
and
not.
You're not. And if you're the second one, there's 3, 4, 5, 4.
There
Yeah.
might be many of 6.
Yeah.
But that man who is a cheater always keep one in the hole. He always, because that's his issue. But to the woman who's been cheated on and who husband, I carry that. Like, the reason why I was so depleted, because I made his problem mine. I carried it like something was wrong with me. But at the end of the day, no. Whoever he was married to, or whoever the guy we shared in love was married to, they were going to get the same exact treatment. So it is not your issue. He may tell you or blame you, then we carry the responsibility. But honey girl, that's not you. That's his issue, first of all. So when we're in that situation, the weight that kind of depletes our confidence and make us feel crazy is we have now carried the responsibility of his cheating. You're not responsible. I don't care how much he said you did, you said,
Or you didn't do.
Or you didn't do. My thing was, I didn't do. And it was, I did. And he had the illusion. Well, no. In his mind, I was in love with another man, but cheating on him. But I wasn't. You know, I just had this issue, and I went to him. I wanted to expose my issue, but I didn't know who he was, and I didn't really understand that he was not equipped to hear that look.
He wasn't ready for it.
He wasn't ready for it. But I was like, this is my husband.
Right.
I got this issue. I don't want to be thinking about another man.
Right.
You know? So, but what's happening over here, I blamed him because he wasn't doing or being. Then I got this issue. But the truth was, he was just a trigger. The issue that you have while you're married is the issue you had before you got married. And the marriage is just a trigger. You know? So it's easy to blame each other.
Right.
But what comes out under pressure is who you were before you got married.
It just amplifies, like we talked about last week. Yeah.
So we're talking about healing.
Yeah.
And we're talking about lack of healing. And the bottom line is, you know, we don't heal because we don't know how.
And we're not trying to bash men cheating, women cheat too. But what we're saying is, with a woman who's accepting to be the side chick, deal with you. Because if you don't deal with yourself, you will continue going through this vicious cycle of not knowing your worth and continue to get these same men. With the men, and what women do, so on the other end of that, being the woman who was cheated on, I internalize all of it.
Absolutely.
I internalized everything. He cheated on me because I wasn't this, and this, and this. And one of the things I had to recognize too growing up, and especially growing up in Christ, was it's a character issue. And people have to deal with their character issue. And this needs to be outside of marriage before they need to move on. So men cheat, women cheat, whoever cheat, or whoever the side piece is dealing with those issues that cause you to be there, to accept yourself. Or, I mean, it's hard to be, I keep touching my mic, I'm sorry. It's hard to be on this end, you're cheating on someone, and you're constantly looking them in their face, telling you that you love them, while you're going with this one and this one and this one, right?
Yeah. Ladies, listen, I've been, when I say I've been through it, I've been through it. I've been through it to the point where I didn't want to live. I didn't know. You know, I was a little psycho. And let me tell you, you know, when I chose to believe a man's words over God, I believed what a man said about me versus what God said about me. When you're in a state, when you are tossed to and fro by the words of a man that you love, that you have given your life to, that you were loyal to, when you choose to believe his words over what the word of God says about you, you are in a state of delusion. You are in a state of psychosis. You are in a place of insanity because you're not in your right mind. You have now developed and allow yourself to be defined by a man who don't value you, who don't love you, who can give two, who can care. All you're good for is his sexual desires.
And fantasy.
And his fantasy. You know, you're only good for, you know, he will talk sweet nuts into your ear so you can run, you know, whatever you need to run for him. You know, so all I'm saying is it's a space that feels so detrimental. And I tell you, I was there. I was the woman who was rejected. I could not believe. And although I came into the marriage broken, so did he. He was broken too. We were both infatuated in love with the concept of family, but we wasn't in love and infatuated with each other.
Right.
We just wanted family because we never had it. We wanted family because that's the right thing to do. we tried our hand at it, you know, but I was so broken that we never grew.
Yep.
Like, we never grew. I mean, we had money, we made good money, but as individuals in the relationship, the same situation for 13 years. I mean, no growth whatsoever.
And that's crazy, right?
Absolutely.
Because if something is not growing, it's dead.
It's dead.
It's
Something's
dead.
not growing. However, number one, I felt guilty. And I knew I'm a loyal person. I was loyal without Christ.
Right.
You know, what more loyal can I be with Christ? But I was not divorcing my ex-husband. I was committed. And what took place was I grew up. After what happened between me and him, the guy that she and I were together with, I did enter a marriage broken. I did love the ex-husband, but I wasn't healed, but I was staying married.
Right.
And so what happened was I grew up, and I was just like, well, the way we're at it, this ain't it. This ain't it. No, you can't treat me like that. So let's just grow together. You know, it's time to get help, time to change the course, because I'm not that little girl you met anymore, and we got to do better. But when I grew, it wasn't necessarily that I was whole. It was just that I was becoming more aware of what I was in, and something in me was like, wait a minute, this ain't right. And so as a result of me saying no, enough, we went through a divorce.
Because he couldn't take that woman you were becoming.
No, and he couldn't believe that stance was because of, we just need to grow. It wasn't another man.
Right.
But because of the brokenness and the way I responded to him and our brokenness, there were all indications there that make him believe that it was another man, but it wasn't.
Right.
You know?
And on the flip side of that, he was doing stuff.
And on the flip side, you know, he was being that black, unhealed black man.
Yeah.
You know? That black man who, you know, want the best, trying at the best, married, not really sure, but because it's the right thing to do. Fellas, how many of y'all have married women just to shut them up?
Or
Like,
that's
men
what
do
happened to me.
that. Yes.
Like, she keep asking me, like, that's what happened to me and the guy.
Right.
Was I don't want to be married. I really want to, we were young. We were, I think, 20 and 21 when we got married. So really, he wanted to live this free life. Like, he really wanted to live this life where he wanted to sow his oats. And then, rightfully so, he's 21.
Right.
But we had, I think, a kid and a kid on the way. So for me, it was like, well, we already have a family. Why do you want this life when we have this life? So he was living a double life, maybe a triple life. Like,
Maybe a triple life.
you know.
And I remember him saying that I won't be able to see my kids if I don't marry her. And I, you know, and I was mad, like, who does that?
Well, I don't, because
Right.
when he cheated, and when we cheated, I was still very civil
Right.
with him, and I would take my kids over there, and I was, at that time, because him and the girl he cheated with got married.
Right.
So we were civil-ish. I mean, there was no issue with me. It was just, yeah, I was hurt because you cheated, but let's move on, right?
Yeah. And there was a time in the story, I don't know if you remember this. I don't know even if it's safe to share.
Okay.
But when he married the other woman, and I was supporting you through it, I remember you called me and you were crying, and I told you about a vision and a dream that I had. Do you remember that?
Not when he was marrying her.
Okay, well, we'll get back to that. I took
Okay.
that off camera because I think it's a sensitive matter. But
Well, yeah, because I don't remember. Yeah, we're going to talk. I mean, we could talk about it. I just don't. For me, because I remember when he got married, I was just like, "Oh, can I come to the wedding?" He's
Right,
like,
what?
"What the heck?"
that's how I feel.
Right, like
what's the beef for? You don't want me. I don't want you. We good. Like, why do it get ugly, y'all? You know why it get ugly? Because two broken people who then got broken again for the fifth, sixth, seventh time.
Yep.
And so it's like you out here fighting all this drama over somebody you don't want. Like,
Right.
why? If you don't want this person, why are you dragging? Why are you keeping all that drama?
Right. And I know for me, I didn't want that. I didn't want to be in the drama. I just wanted to be released from it. So, so moving on to now, what I want to say is, I want you to start assessing yourself, whether you're male or female, whoever you are, whether you're side chick, main chick, whatever you are, if you had a relationship hurt or not. Just begin to start assessing yourself and really start deal with those issues that you still feel hurt from, where you feel like you're not really healed from those issues. Because really, like if I think about my life and going through, I really begin to know who I am through God. And then I had to learn that I cannot find myself through a man. I cannot make a man my God, because that person did not create me. It's almost like I'm in this car and I have all these questions about this car, but why would, and it's a Honda. I have a Honda. Why would I go to Mazda to tell me about how to drive this car, and they did not create me? So one of the things you really need to do is hook up with God to begin to deal with those issues of hurt and the issues of the pain that you had that's unresolved, so that He can begin to walk you through that process of healing. And then once you begin to do that, you won't settle. I always hear this quote that says, stop giving people discounts, right? Like, stop settling and giving people discounts, and know your worth. Because once you begin to know who you are, whose you are, and increasing your worth, none of that, other that you begin to get a tunnel vision of who you are, and then you start to recognize what you should and should not attach to your life. So if you were a side chick, I mean, again, not to excuse it, but I was in such a state of brokenness and I didn't realize that. But that's when you need to sit down, shut down, and sit with God to figure out what's going on with you internally. And this could be issues, again, from when you were 5 years old, if someone molested you or things like that. This could be issues from back in the day when your mother rejected you, or your father rejected you, or your mother abandoned you, or your father abandoned you. These are some issues that you really have to face in order to really begin to get healed and really begin to see God on how to heal from that.
Oh my God. So when she talk about that, y'all, you know, my friends, they saw me when I married, even though I was kind of salty and broken from the situation being abandoned, I still had this about me. You know, I did not marry as an insecure woman. Like, I am, and my friends would tell you, of course, he got his own story. I was vibrant. I was cool. You know, I was that most popular, the prom queen, and I was really chill. I went into my marriage very confident. I mean, there were 2 babies' mom before me. I sent them bags. I sent them gifts to let them know, like, I ain't the one. The children want to come. It's when the initial heartbreak happened in our marriage. Then I grew insecure in the marriage. But then after years of broken person hurting a broken weed, going, I was depleted. And the whole entire being, like my whole entire being was like, who am I? Because when you remain in a broken situation for years, I came in broken. I left out shattered. You know what I mean? So the pieces were really, really refined, and it took the Holy Spirit. And someone asked me, Ngazi, like, how do I heal? Where do we start? Where do we start? And so as a person who empowers women to heal, I have a system. You know, God has given me just divine insight as I shut my life down. I literally shut my life down, y'all. I was so broken. I was so hurt by these women. I was so hurt by what I encountered that to save my life and to save his life, and so that I won't do nothing crazy, I had to shut my life down. I didn't leave my 4 walls. I was in a state of depression. I was in a prison. I was afraid that if I leave this, I was pregnant. I felt like if I saw him and her, it's going to be all bad. I start having these visions, you know, so to play it safe, I didn't go nowhere. I didn't go nowhere. I literally lived in 4 walls for about 2.5, 3 years because I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want to face nobody. I was embarrassed. And it was in that process that the other young man that stepped in on the business platform, who God sent to me, but because I was so broken, I deciphered like, oh, like you can't see clear. God will send a man to you to help excel you in another area in your life. Now, here you are for that. Now, thank God this particular man has some sense. No, seriously,
Right.
thank God this man was strong enough in who he was,
Right.
that he was able to allow me to be crazy, to be infatuated with the idea that there's a man pouring into me. It didn't violate me, didn't take advantage of me, but there was something in him that God, I needed to have. So the wisdom that he gave me for business, I was able to apply in my natural life,
Right.
and to work out the niches. But how many times did God send a man to you for a different purpose? But because you're broken and you're emotional, you miss
And
out.
you ready for your husband.
And
How
you
many
ready
people
for
like,
your
where my husband at?
And you think because this man is coming and he got something to offer
Yeah.
you, that, oh, because he's appealing to the heart. And so there are some integral men out there. There are some men out there who ain't trying to hit the next or be the next, who really believe in you. There are men that God will send to you to propel your destiny forward, but you miss out on both ends of the stick because you got emotionally involved, and a weak man is not going to turn down no sex, and now you lose. Now you can't even have him for business. Now you can't even have him for this. Luckily, in my case, I got everything that I needed.
Right.
He was like, oh, this girl's crazy. She crazy.
Right.
Which, I was. But at the same time, I knew he had something that I needed. And although I deciphered it and I filtered the love that was from God through him, it helped me heal because it was from God.
Right.
You understand? When God sends it, it won't take away from you. When God do it, it won't be taken away. And God can send someone, but because of your brokenness and your impatience and your lack of emotional management, you can blow it.
Yep. And then and you can blow that other person's. I mean, you can do some damage to that other person as
Right.
well.
You sure
So
can.
that's why you need that spirit of discernment to decipher whether or not how you should proceed. But you really need to get healed. So that's kind of the point. So I'm going to shift it to questions. I cannot see anybody's questions. So we're take a little bit for questions, and then we'll kind of go from there.
And as she's getting the questions, you don't mind. So how do you start to heal? There's 5 areas that you need to manage. I'm excited to introduce the healing management system. And what I've done is when I went through what I went through, I realized that space of deep rejection, that space of divorce, sharing the same man, being the side chick, it is a dark space that sometimes it's easier to continue on in the cycle to heal. But there's 5 areas you need to manage. And that those 5 areas are your thoughts, your words, your emotions, your actions, and your responses. Again, your thoughts, your words, your emotions, your actions, and your responses. Okay, start there, and you will get more about that here shortly.
Yeah. So I cannot see. My phone is not working, so give me a minute to
Oh,
look.
we still live.
Yes.
Hey,
So can you
Joy.
see any questions?
We have any questions? Lawrence, Faye, Tanya, what's up? I love everyone that I see on Facebook Live. Are there any questions that you may have on how I didn't kill Janelle? How did I maintain the love and not go ham on these people that hurt me? How did she maintain the love and not go ham on this woman that was loving the man that she had 2 kids by? How did we make it? We both love this dude, y'all. I love him. But we overcame. How did we overcome?
And
How
then
did we
overcame to the point where we can sit here and share our story with you.
Right.
So it's beyond, because there was many times where I couldn't sit down and share parts of my story. I like right now, listening to talk about what I did when I became usher and give you my confessions.
Yeah.
That was something I didn't want to share because if you look at me, you would never think that was like me. That's why I never put people in a box and say, oh, that person wouldn't do that. Hey, I've been in situations where I thought I would never be in, right?
Because of what I've been through, I can smell it a mile away. Listen,
You can.
I know who cheating. I know who ain't cheating. I know the man that cheat. I can smell it a mile away. Thank God for healing. I'm glad I can smell it because I would never allow myself to get back in it ever again.
And then if you don't heal, then you just, it blinds you.
It
That
does.
brokenness blinds you. You're like, oh, here comes this savior, and oh, you know, he's doing this. And a lot of times they're going to have exactly what you're looking for. So, or exactly what you feel you need. So in my situation, it was, I felt rejected, so here comes someone making me feel accepted. Like, when I say chase me like a bunny, like,
yes.
It was just like, oh man, like at first I was just like, okay, this dude is crazy. Then I was flattered, and that's how you get caught up. I'm sure you've seen Tyler Perry's movie when he talked about the 80-20 rule. It's kind of that you're so blinded by it that when someone offers you or have something that you feel like you need, they come along, you fall for it.
You fall for it.
So it's really getting to that place where you're completely whole. And we all have issues. We all have a past. We've all done things that we shouldn't have done, and we've all been hurt by someone. And I was at this conference yesterday that blew my mind. Cayenne, I'm putting you out here. The conference was so good, and the illustration was taking your brokenness and making a beautiful piece. It's almost like how Joyce Meyer is saying you're turning your beauty into ashes. So yeah, it took a lot for me to share that story with you because I was embarrassed, but I know it's helping someone. It's helping someone to say, I don't have to settle. I have to know my worth. I know that I deserve better. I know God has more for me. I am awesome. I am all that. And being able to build yourself up, because then you will attract different types of things.
Yes, and let me tell you about being second best.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about when I got married, I never forget the guy, the woman he was with before. I was literally like waiting. I remember he came back to me and was like, I'm going to check and see and make sure that she don't want to get back with me. And then I'm going to come back. So I'm over here like not really wanting to be in it. I was this dude's friend, but he literally made sure that she didn't want to be with him before he got with me. What type of, what? I
So,
mean, now
yeah.
that I'm grown and I'm whole, like, when the man say, let me go check and see if she,
It's cool.
I was so ignorant.
And
Like,
that shows
then,
you.
the first time we got married,
Mm-hmm.
I remember going over their home and they fussing like, you left me. And I'm sitting there looking at this like, but I still married him. And the thing is, all the signs are there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, at what cost, at what price would you pay for a short-term fix? How many of you women are married but in love with a man from 10 years ago? How many of you are married right now but unhappy because he's not who you thought he was or who you wanted him to be? How many of y'all are married to a man that you dated while he was going through a separation and divorce and you shocked that he's treating you a certain type of way? Ladies, all the signs are there. And do you know there's a lot of broken women who can't make money because they got all this relational issue?
And we're about making money. Let me tell
That's
you.
what I'm saying. So we want you to heal so you can get money.
Yeah, so you can start walking in your divine purpose, because all that stuff catches you up.
It catches up with you.
You're just like, how can I think about becoming an entrepreneur when I'm so broke?
How can you date and have sex with a man and you broke? It's not, I mean, me, I can't. Like, that's why I haven't dated yet. Because during my process, I had to rebuild. But what I experienced one time, 2 times, hell no for the 3rd time. I'm worth my own weight. You understand what I'm saying? Ladies, you are worth your own weight. You are worth God's best. You are worth allowing a man to pursue you. You are worth digging out the gunk and seeing your beauty like God sees you. Y'all, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even last year, I wasn't comfortable in my skin. I didn't love who I was. I took that rejection and that divorce, I took that hard. And then when you look at the side chicks like this chick, but then you got to realize A lowly chick is the only type of chick that's going to be in a situation like that. I don't care how confident you say you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a side chick, if you sleeping with a married man, you are lowly. You need help. You need help. Like, I don't care how glorious and glamorous it seems. It is a sad state. It is a sad state that you will compromise your children, that you will compromise the safety. How many of these men are touching and hurting your children because you broken and you want some feel goods? Now your daughter or your
son,
sons
yeah,
are at risk because you're broken and you want some feel good. Like, it's sad. It's sad. So we got to heal.
Yeah.
We got to heal, not for another relationship. We got to heal so that we can accomplish what God wants us to accomplish in this earth. There's some broken men that need some whole women to rise up, not in a relationship. Just women rising up in their authority is healing, you know?
Amen. And because of that, I want to show you something in this book. So one of the things I have in the book is called Daily Affirmations, if you can see. So in this book, you see that Mahogany is laying down with her mom, and her mom is providing her with affirmations. She's saying to her, you are beautiful, you are smart, you are creative, you are strong, you are worthy, you are valuable. So what I want you to do tonight is say that to yourself, but use I am beautiful, I am strong, I am worthy, I am valuable. Because I really believe in positive affirmations, and that is what you need to change your mind. So I'm going to go to see if I have any questions.
Any questions?
Do I have any questions?
Let me see. Are there any questions on Ngazi's Facebook Live? Hold on. I'm going to come over here, y'all. So we got all these cameras going on.
Yes, and I can't see, so uh-oh.
Hold on. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Hi, Facebook. Hello. Okay, obviously God has a bigger picture here. Both of you found your work. Praise God. Yes. Any questions? No questions.
No questions on my page? Is there anything on the iPad?
Well, I had some questions after the first show,
Mm-hmm.
and someone asked, do I think that would Janelle and I still be friends if I would have made
The
that
guy.
Well, I answered, I was like, probably not. But then when I thought about that, probably so. Because God's agenda is ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
He had an ultimate agenda. And where we're about to go and what we're working on and what's happening, like, I am so grateful of every experience that I've had. Like, I can look at my ex-husband and I don't see what we've been through. Like, I love him. It's all good. I get it. I have compassion toward him. He's the father of my children. I don't want his demise.
Yeah.
Ladies, if you are married or separated and you have children by a man who have hurt you, if he wants to be a father,
Let
and let him. It's so sad that you will keep. I understand it. Don't get me wrong, because sometimes, fellas, it's like y'all be tripping so much that pain is so hard that it's easier to take the kids and go because we don't want nothing to do with you. Me personally, I had to endure something different.
Right.
But I didn't want to be enemies. Like, I'm like, okay, we're not together. Why be enemies? You know, like, why are we enemies? Like, you're the father to my children. I don't want your demise because your demise, my children's demise. Do you want your children to see a whole and healed father?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't you want your child to experience seeing daddy and mommy broken, but they grew up? You know, like, consider that. Consider your child. Consider reconciling or trying things different so that your children can experience growth.
And don't be doing stupid stuff.
Right.
Don't be doing those as women, because sometimes men have a hard on a sense of, I want to be with my kids, but she keep doing stuff like, not showing up or just doing sneaky stuff. I mean, that can go both ways. So make sure that, you're not fighting because of what y'all have and that the kids are really the mutual
Yeah,
spirit.
because do you understand that children are a reward, they're our legacy, and when you rob them of experiencing their father because you're mad, because he moved on, that is really, that's some real brokenness. It's kind of sick. It really is.
Yeah.
So really consider yourself, really get help. I ain't saying for the fathers who are really detrimental to their children's health. I'm saying if you holding back and playing games just because you mad, you got issues. Like, we gotta heal, ladies. We got daughters, we got sons, we got businesses that need to be accomplished that's being hindered by the competition. I'm so blessed that God has given me a mature spirit. And even on top of that mature spirit, now over the past couple of years, I've been able to develop my emotional strength. It takes emotional strength to allow the mistress to talk to you and not cuss her out.
And then sharing their story. So we're gonna wrap it up. I'm sorry, I can't see questions, and I can't see because even with my glasses on. We're do another segment next week, right? And then we're going to kind of continue the healing. We want to get to the part where we're actually talking about the healing. I think we're going to wrap it up a little bit, maybe talk about some brokenness while married, and then we'll get into some real healing nuggets, because I think that's what people need. Again, we're not the rah-rah drama or housewife. We wanted to give you some solutions to your problem. I don't look at you, if you're the side chick, the main chick, the single chick, whatever type of chick you are, if you're having any type of issues with hurting or healing, start dealing with God with that.
Yes, and the chick syndrome, like, here it is. If you compare or compete with the next woman, you're broken, You're that chick. And that's just a slogan so you can put it in your head. If you don't want to be that chick, don't be her. Stop comparing and competing yourself with the next woman. If you hinder or hate, are you hating? Are you constantly trying to hinder somebody because you're mad or things are not going your way, so you want to go do some stuff to hinder the next person? Stop it. You're broken. Allow yourself time to heal. Do you operate in ill intentions? Are you constantly sowing seeds of division, scheming, manipulating, playing games, lying? You're broken. And you got that chick mentality. Broken women sleep with married men. They settle. Do you compromise? Most broken women don't have standards. Or most broken women have compromised their standards. But do you compromise? Do you compromise your workplace? Do you compromise your children's future? Do you compromise your dreams? Do you compromise your future? Are you paying bills for a man and he's using you? Are you compromising your rent?
No.
You're broken. You need to be fixed. And do you keep drama? Chick. CHICK.
Ain't that cool?
Seriously, do you keep drama? Keeping drama, negative drama. Are you watching all these shows? Are you enticed by the next person hurt? Are you, everywhere you go, there's drama, there's chaos. If you keep drama, it's because there's inward drama and you're broken. So,
and not just drama in relationships. That could be any time, because I feel people they'll look at their relationships, but you also need to assess yourself. So do you keep drama with your friends, your family? Like, is there always something, like an issue with something, no matter how minute it may be, and then you find yourself, girl, let me tell you, I can't believe this. It's really something you have to deal with on the inside of you, right?
Right.
So we're going to wrap it up. I know we talked a lot again. I apologize.
Y'all didn't have no questions.
Well,
what's the purpose behind it?
Yeah, and if you do, I'll try to answer more on the next time we come from on my page. I appreciate you listening. We have a purpose together. The brokenness, we've healed from it, and we're really just trying to help others heal as well. So thank you for tuning in. You can visit me on my page. I'm JanelleJonesEmpowers.com. I highly recommend that you subscribe, and make sure you pick up my Beauty and Mahogany book. So if you have any nieces or nephews or nieces or daughters or anyone that you know that needs to be affirmed, because this is where this book came from. I mean, I don't care if you have a strong family background, anything. No one could get enough affirmations. Make sure you buy it on Amazon. I appreciate you tuning in. As always, I appreciate my special guest.
Yes.
We'll be here next week, we believe, for part 3. And then we're going to do a little bit more to bring this healing series together. And we'll continue to tell you more because we're working on a lot of projects.
And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a woman who have decided that you are an entrepreneur and you're dealing with this relational issue, you want to be around a tribe of women that will pull you up, help you develop economically, and financially, get with me.
Yeah.
Me and Dr. Jewel Tanker, this woman behind me, this woman pouring into me, everything that's happening behind the scenes, I would love to connect with you It's time to heal. It's time to rise up and the woman of God has called you to be.
And walk in your purpose.
And get paid.
Yes. All right, thank you for joining me. I know I'm saying peace.
Bye.
Bye.